I'm live on YouTube. That is wonderful. Now I'm gonna go live on Facebook in 1 second. I should be live on Facebook. This is wonderful. Waiting for live video, so hopefully it's gonna connect. And then the last one will be the wonderful Instagram. I'm not going live on. There's some problem on Facebook. I'm gonna try. Sorry for those following on Instagram. We're gonna be ready in 1 second. Just trying to go live again on Facebook, and then we're gonna start. Sorry, first live of 2021. Nothing is ever smooth the first time you do it. So I'm trying again. Okay, and now we should go live on Facebook as well. Sorry again for the YouTube followers. Sometimes they can be longer, but now I see Facebook charging. It should be working, hopefully. Yes, it's working, perfect. And now I'm gonna go live on Instagram as well. So we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a great pleasure to host this first live Q&A or live streaming for now in 2021. I'm extremely happy to be here speaking to you. This year will be amazing. This year will be a year of change. This year will be a year of outstanding achievement for this movement. So I'm incredibly happy to see so many of you connecting already. I see Claudio on Instagram. There was messaging before. I see many people joining on Facebook and also on YouTube. So as we wait for the social media to pick up, I just want to tell you that today we're going to speak about 2020, but especially 2021. We're going to really go deep down in the plan that we have for these coming years, the big vision that we have for our society, and how each one of you can contribute to this great vision. And I'm sorry for the delay in connecting, but there's some trouble on Facebook. Probably big corporation are trying to nail us down. I'm joking. Just some problem with my connection. So as I mentioned before, I see comments coming in. As I mentioned before, I would like to focus 5 minutes of our time in going through what we did in 2020, and then the rest of the live in looking forward, looking at what we can build together, looking at what we can do together, and looking at what volunteers, members, and activists from all over the world are already working to make happen in 2021. So 5 minutes of recap. Where are we and what have we achieved? So NOW was born a little more than a year ago. On the 1st of January 2020, me, Colombe, and a handful of crazy volunteers pull off this small project back then, a little dream, the dream of bringing together people from all over the world behind a common vision, a common idea, a common hope for the future. Regardless of where we come from, what we believe into, the color of our skin, and any other trait, we said we can come together, we can show the world that there is a better future at our grasp. And because of that, we started this movement. And obviously, as you know, 2020 wasn't the easier year to start anything. But, you do what you gotta do. And in just 365 days, we recruited more than 10,000 people in more than 120 countries. Yes, we have more than 10,000 people right now reading our emails, jumping on our activities, participating in our calls for more than 120 countries. Personally, I think that will never be my life in 120 countries even. So this is already a huge achievement. we managed to bring people together from the four corners of this planet. People that, just before they might have been completely focused on doing something good for their countries or for their city. And now, thanks to now, they broadened their view, as I did, and understood that there was something bigger, something that would connect them all, something that would bring humans together for a better future. So that is the big first achievement of now, and I'm extremely proud of the numbers and the pervasiveness of our movement on this already after 1 year. Aside from the community we built, which obviously will be a big focus of 2021, and I will cover that in a minute, we managed to launch 4 campaigns. We managed to push the UN Security Council to, or at least we worked a lot to push the UN Security Council to declare a global climate emergency, which obviously is a very pressing topic nowadays. And despite the fact that the UN Security Council is extremely, extremely difficult to reach, I must say that we already have calls lined up with UN Security Council or representative of countries at the UN Security Councils. They are very interested in our campaign. So obviously I can't promise that we're going to have a global climate emergency declared anytime soon, but I can promise that we're going to push until this happens. And I know that I'm speaking on behalf of wonderful volunteers that in the month of December have also launched initiative Green December. There was a great initiative, very successful, with people joining from every corner of this planet to fight back against climate change and show to our governments that we don't care about national divisions. We don't care about national interests. What we care about is our common future. And that was crystal clear in the actions taken in Green December, from Belgium to Nairobi to Buenos Aires to Stockholm. All together, people came and worked for a better future. So this is exactly the spirit that we want. This is exactly what we're trying to build. And Green December, the initiative that we used to advance our global climate emergency, was exactly what we needed. The second campaign we launched was a campaign on women's rights called Run Like a Woman. The idea there is, inequality is obvious, is pervasive. We find in every corner of society. How can we solve it at the root of the problem? And the idea is, let's bring more people, more women into power. Let's do our best because to ensure the national parliaments all over the world achieve gender equality, gender balance. And obviously a very ambitious target. There are countries, a handful of countries that are already there, and most countries are lagging behind. We built a coalition of politicians. We came together and we started heavily advocating for this target. The campaign was very successful, but we had the huge unlucky coincidence of having a pandemic happening basically 3 days before the launch of this campaign. Even if obviously COVID was around since 2019, probably, it's only in March that in many countries around the world, the pandemic really started ramping up. And so since March, since we had these 2 campaigns running, we had some difficulties in performing our grassroots campaigning. And so we shifted a lot on digital, obviously, and other stunt actions. But let's continue the overview of 2020 so that we can jump in 2021 very quick. The third campaign that we launched was a very effective campaign, what we call the Health Workers First. Health Workers First is the idea that when a COVID vaccine is available, and back then in May, it was still hope, and now we know that we have COVID vaccines, we should ensure that health workers all over the world should have access to COVID vaccine in a priority fashion. Why? Because obviously in an ideal world, it would all be vaccinated together. This doesn't happen. Countries have their interests, corporations have their interests. We know that many countries will be left behind. And we think that this is the biggest shame of our time, is something that Easter will judge us for. And how can we put a little, try to solve it in a quick way? We realize the health workers, those that are at the forefront of the fight against COVID, are the ones needing the jab the most. And so we said, okay, health workers all over the world, this is a small number compared to the whole population, should be vaccinated before anyone else, regardless where they come from, regardless how much their countries pay AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and all the other providers, regardless of the GDP of the country. The important thing is that our common humanity is the most important thing. And so health workers should have priority vaccination. And surprisingly enough, in a 2 weeks campaign, we received a letter from the Director General of the World Health Organization, you can find it on our website, saying, yeah, guys, I completely agree with you. I will push to make it happen. To be honest, the power doesn't rely here for that, which is obviously a very, very sad acknowledgement of the fact that even in a global pandemic, the UN agency tasked with the coordination of the response doesn't have the power to ensure that vaccines are actually distributed fairly. There was a very sad moment, but on the same time, one of our first concrete results from advocating together for a common solution. So we're very proud of what we achieved there. And finally, the last campaign we launched in 2020, and by far, I must say, the most successful campaign, at least in terms of numbers and participation, is the Wave of Freedom campaign. The idea that, we read every day around the world about struggles for freedom fighters being incarcerated, authoritarian regimes cracking down on liberties. And many of us would like to help. And many people under oppression would like to be helped. But our governments are often too scared or too weak to do anything. Their economic interests, obviously, if we speak about China or Russia, big countries, there are many economic interests preventing countries from intervening or from sanctioning their crystal clear abuses. And so we said, okay, it's time for citizens to step up. It's time for citizens to advocate for the only solution that we have to, for example, protect Hong Kong, or support Thai fighters, or support Venezuelans. They are starving and being oppressed since many years right now. And the only solution is the one of creating a league of nations, a league of democracies that can uphold democracies abroad and at home. Because let's remember, it's very difficult to put a bar to say, okay, I'm a fully democratic country. There are many countries that are sliding back in democracy. So it's truly important to be aware of the fact that even when you live in a democratic country, like I do here in the United Kingdom, there is still a big risk of losing this democracy. So we want to create a league of democracy, bringing big democracies together to keep authoritarian regimes accountable, sanction them, and ensure that their horrible acts are sanctioned, as well as keeping each other accountable and keeping the level of democracy up and there among the stars where it should be. And this campaign went very well. We got millions of people participating online. We got protests in tens of cities around the world, obviously in the windows where COVID was not causing lockdowns across the planet. We're very proud of what we achieved. I must say, this is a big priority for us. We have a target, is the G7 meeting this summer in the UK, where big democratic countries will come together to discuss trade and other priorities. We want to make sure that at this meeting, they also discuss democracy. And we really hope we are working very hard with politicians all over the world to have our League of Democracies mentioned, discussed, and hopefully approved at the G7 summit. Obviously, it's a long game. We can't ensure that it's going to be done in just a few months, but I can promise with everything we got in our life, in our blood, in our body, that we actually going to try with all our strength to make it happen. We owe it to all the wonderful Hong Kong activists that are supporting our movement. We owe it to the wonderful Thai activists that came in the cold in London to advocate for democracy in Thailand. We owe it to the legislators in Venezuela that are leaving the National Assembly after 5 and more years of Maduro, and the situation that is incredibly bad. So this is what we're doing, and I'm very happy to see so many people participating in our action. So this was a very short recap of what we did in 2020. 10,000 people, 120 countries, 4 major campaigns launched. I must say I'm very proud. I don't know how many organizations launched in 2020, first of all, managed to survive 2020, and second, achieve what we achieved this year. There are many other wonderful organizations partnering with us, but for once, I want to make sure that the attention is on Now and Now volunteers. We did a very, sorry for the language, a fucking great job. And I'm very proud of all of you. And now looking ahead, looking at 2021. So you might have received our email where we outline a bit the plan for 2021. If not, you might have seen it on our social media, but we have a few big priorities ahead. First of all, we need to shape our philosophy. 2020, it was a year of test. We're understanding where we could add the most value. We're trying different techniques. Now we know who we are. We know where we stand. We know how to move things around. What we need to know now, what we need to create now is a clear direction, a clear vision for society to ensure that all our action move us slightly towards that target. And so with all of you, all the one that want to be involved in this exercise, we are really thinking from scratch, what is the vision, the society we want to have in 50 years from now? How do we want our countries, continents, cities to be run in 20 years from now? How do we want our nieces and nephews to live in 100 years from now? I don't think that anyone has the answer right now. And that's a big problem that we are living into. There is a huge lack of forward-looking mindset in our politicians, in our society, in our life. And this is putting everything at peril. I mean, we are living in a moment of great changes: artificial intelligence, space exploration, pandemics, climate change, and no one is able to tell us in 4, 5, 6 years from now how the world should look like. Forget about in 30 years. So this is the job that we have taken on us now. We want to think ahead. We want to look in the long run and think, okay, do we believe that in 50 years we still need nations? Do we believe that in 100 years we still gonna live divided in groups or in languages, or we're gonna live as one community, maybe in different planets? Do we believe that in 30 years we will still gonna pay taxes as we pay them today? Do we believe that the current system that generated huge economic inequalities, discriminations, and keep on rewarding the wrong incentives is the right one for our society? I personally don't believe so. And many of the people in Now share my view. And so together we're working to craft this hope for the future. And obviously, if you want to be involved, if you have great ideas, if you are really, really interested in also one small topic, how to farm better, how to, as I said before, pay taxes in a different way, how to contribute to society in a different way, it's your time. Join us, become a member, contribute to the conversation, because we need your ideas, and we really need them fast. So first big topic, as I said, forming a philosophy, a vision for the future. Second big topic, we are restarting our community effort. And on this one, I'm at the forefront. Probably if you're a member of Now, you receive emails from me pushing you to participate in our calls. But obviously in 2020, we could not really develop anymore the local network that we used to have at the beginning of our effort because of COVID. And we are betting that in 2021, with the deployment of vaccines and the fact that people are extremely eager to go back to the streets, go back to do stuff together, go back to build something together, our community can become strong again, strong and growing again. And so we are investing a lot of effort in hosting calls in English, Italian, French, Spanish, and later on even other languages to bring together people from all over the world and push them to create a small team in their community. What does this team do? This team will be the center of our operations in each city, town, village across the planet. This means recruiting new people. This means linking our global vision into the local realities. This means making sure that our campaigns and our actions stay true to our values and to what people feel as very important and close to their heart. So this is what a local team will do. This is what a local group will do. This Thursday, we have the first calls in English with more than 70 cities already interested in joining. And then next week, we're going to do French, Italian, and Spanish as a start. If you're interested in starting a local group, if you're interested in joining a local group, you don't have to be at the forefront. You can also support and give, dedicate 1, 2, 3 hours to this effort, but be there because it's a new year. You probably made a commitment on the first day of this year. And I'm sure in this commitment, there is something about doing better and helping society, helping yourself and the world. And this could be a very concrete way to help yourself and the world. Because even if you can show up to a meeting and show that beyond borders, beyond nationalities, beyond religions, beyond differences, we can come together and do something good, I think this is the most important message that you can send to the planet right now. And so I want you to do it. So as I said, philosophy, community, and the last brick of our vision is obviously campaign. We do campaign for a living. We love it. We believe that this year, at least one campaign must be focused on economic inequalities. If you're on our forum, you might have seen that already. But obviously, after a pandemic is the moment where society can take a very good turn or a very bad turn. A very bad turn is, think about the 30s, the 20s and the 30s after the First World War in Europe, we got fascism. Think about what happened instead in the US, you got the New Deal, and you got prosperity. And so clearly we're at a crossroad, and we must take the right direction. And for us, this means we must ensure that after COVID, the big wrongs of this world, the fact that people die of hunger, that people do not have access to opportunities, people cannot study, people cannot, learn skills because they are underprivileged and left behind by society. This is the first thing we have to fix. And especially with an eye to the youngsters, because young people are those that are suffering the most for things they have not done. By definition, they might be entering now the workforce, they might be entering now adult life, they might be, hoping to form a family, and they are paying very heavily because of the mistakes of their parents. 2008, there was a financial crisis. The last 10 years have been very, very difficult in terms of migration, in terms of populism, and now a pandemic with a terrible management from the world as a whole. Clearly, young people are paying a very heavy price for this situation. We must ensure that this doesn't happen, we must ensure that this is fixed. And so our next campaign will be heavily focused on economic inequalities, and hopefully we're going to do it in the spring when COVID will be a bit less annoying. And I hope that all of you, from wherever you are in the world, can help us in making a big reality. So these are a bit the idea, the three main ideas of 2021. And let's say the roof that we are building above these three pillars is the roof of growth. We want to make sure that now goes from being 10,000 people to being 100,000. We want to make sure to have active members not only in major cities across the world, but also villages, also rural communities. We want to make sure that by the end of 2021, we are fully ready to be a force of change in most countries on this planet. And this is an extremely difficult task. We all know it. We know it's not going to be easy, but we have committed as a central team, as a base of volunteers, as a movement as a whole, to make this happen because we believe it is the most urgent thing that we have on our radar. The fact that 1 year and a half, almost 1 year and a half after the outbreak of COVID, and a good 6 months after vaccines were already on the radar of many countries, we are still struggling to even distribute this vaccine where they are available, and many countries don't even have them, shows how our society is failing and shows how change is needed. And I think this change can only come from a movement that disregard traditional divisions that have destroyed our planet for centuries. And that's the truth, guys. We are all proud of our nationalities, we all love our cultures, but the truth is that if we want to change the planet, we have to look beyond our differences. And this doesn't mean disregarding the beautiful cultural heritage that we all have, but it means thinking anew about a system that can actually deal with the situation we are into. It's not normal then, 2 years, 3 years after Fridays for Future was created, after decades after the acknowledgement that climate change is happening and might destroy our lives and our future, we still don't have any serious solution to it. Let's be honest. Yes, we have a bit more electric cars. Yes, recycling is a bit better. But guys, we are not solving the problem. We are still in the same place of 20 years ago. Probably worse, actually, given all the emissions that we had in the meantime. So it's clear that the current system is not working. It's not about marginal improvement. It's not about blaming someone. It's about building it anew. And this is exactly what we are trying to do from the ground up, what we are trying to do from every corner of this planet. 2020 was very tough. We sailed through. We had losses. Many of us had losses. And so we have now the obligation to double our efforts and actually do what is needed to do. And for me, what is needed to do is to create a global movement with a shared vision of the future and actually ensuring that in 10, 20, 30 years, this vision of the future becomes reality. So if you agree with me, if you like what you have heard, please join us. Join us as a newsletter subscriber, as a member, become part of this community. Do what you can with your means and your time availability, but don't stay idle. Remember, if you stay idle, you are not helping. You are damaging our shared future. And I know that if you are following this live, you already know a bit about now, you're maybe interested. It's time to take action. Even if you per month, take action. Even if you have 2 years spare, take action. Even if you know 2 friends that might be interested in now, send them the link. Don't procrastinate, don't postpone. We're at the beginning of a new year. It's time for change. It's time for new hope. It's time to really take action. And I can't say it enough, but I'm sure, and I see many of our volunteers following these lives, and I'm extremely proud of your work, guys. I want to tell you that you are making incredible stuff. When I see pictures from Nairobi to South America to Japan of people taking action together, I'm moved to tears. I can't believe it. I can't believe that it's happening. But every time I see it, I know that we have to scale up our game. We have to bring it up one notch. We have to try harder. Because if we are making it, if we are doing this, there are millions of people that could do the same. And there are millions of people that could help us solve climate change. They could help us protect people in Hong Kong and Venezuela. They could ensure that our next generation will not live through economic darkness because there are enough resources for all of us on this planet. And there is no need for people to die of hunger, but not even for people to not be able to pay for education. And so we must solve this. We must make sure that the next generation is luckier than us. So that was my call to action. I spoke a lot, and I'm extremely proud again of what we're doing. So I'm sure my team has posted many links for all of you. Please go check them out, send us questions, join us, because we always say it's now or never. And I really believe so. Thank you so much.